What is going on, everyone? Just give me a quick sound check. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. I think last week I was a little bit too close to the mic. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Let me know if the music or the microphone is too loud and I can make some adjustments, or if it's too low. Same way. We'll be on in just a minute. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to PBH Live, episode 27. Can't believe we're on 27 already. But yes, this is episode 27. It is Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. If you are not here, you are missing out on some of the latest Coyote Swap Tech products and updates on my Autocross car, which are not really that important, but are fun to watch. My name is Frank Perdomo. If you are not up to speed with who Power by the Hour Performance is, or you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the notification bell and selecting all so you don't miss any of our live broadcasts and other videos. But our aim on these Wednesday night live shows is to get you as much Coyote Swap Tech as we can supply as it comes across the desk, as products come out of the warehouse and into the market, to help you get your Coyote Swap or your Coyote powertrain needs met, and just to learn you up a little bit so you don't make any mistakes and you're on the cutting edge of what's available as far as what's available from us, other vendors, other brands, and even some of the tech that you get from the chat room from our members and our viewers as well. If you don't know where Power by the Hour Performance is, we are in West Palm Beach, Florida, right at the end of the airstrip at Palm Beach International Airport. Our website is pbhperformance.com. You can call us at 561-737-2331, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We have 4 salesmen on the staff. We got Frank Pezzo, Christian Papa, Travis Dean, and myself. If you need to email us for any of the tech that is basically covered, or something you have a question on that isn't covered in the video or in the super chat, you can email us. The email is right here at the bottom of the screen, info@pbhperformance.com. That'll come to me and the other members of our sales staff, which happen to also double as our technical advisors as well. There is a super chat and a live chat. I am going to be covering a couple topics here, so I won't be looking at too much of what's going on in the general chat. So if there's something that's burning and has to be answered, you got to get it across my desk, and we need to cover it right now. The super chat is available for a small donation. It'll pop up, and I have to cover those questions for you. As you can see, there's already one in there from a gentleman named Sizzle King. What's going on, man? I'll be covering that here in a second once we get past the introductions and some of the shout-outs we're about to do. Tonight we are going to be covering some of the Autocross action. I did go out Friday night in the Autocross here at PBIR, the Auto X League, which I am leading in the Unlimited class right now. We're getting towards the end. And I'll give you some of the info on that. We'll watch some of the video for my new personal best video as well. And then we'll be talking a little bit about some new products, because some of those new products actually tie into the last 2 shows that we've done, which cover oil filter housings, relocations, and coolers. Now, based on everything we covered there and the stuff that I did research on, we came up with a new kit that we're going to cover in the new product section, along with some other stuff that we have now that should make some other things a little bit easier, maybe a little bit nicer. So this should be a pretty easy show to go through, and we'll get to the live chat and start answering questions. I think I covered subscribing, our website, our phone number. You can find us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. You can search PBH Performance or Power by the Hour Performance. Our hashtag is PBH Equipped. If you have a vehicle that you're posting pictures of the build, covering it, make sure you tag us in it, or put up that hashtag PBH Equipped if you have any of our products on the build. We love sharing that stuff and putting in some of the highlight videos and on our blog that is on our website, pbhperformance.com. Again, if you have any questions about any of the stuff going on tonight, info@pbhperformance.com is a great spot to send that to get it across to the staff. And then we'll help you out as much as we can, get you pointed in the right direction, get you some links, get you rolling. Anything coyote swap, pretty much anything. All topics are pretty much available to cover tonight. So let's see. First person in the chat tonight is 2000 MCR. Great job, man. You killed it. You knocked it out of the park. You're the first person in the chat. That's a big deal here. There's almost a pecking order when it comes to that, and this, he's got it covered. What's going on, Rob? Ford More Performance. How we doing? Sizzle King. We're going to be covering your question or update here in a second. Let's see who else we got in here. Who else we got? Rob, you guys are having a nice little conversation there. Yeah, if you got a link that you want to post up in the chat, go right ahead. If you're leading people to help them out with some technical information, anything that you need to get across, go right ahead. Jason Friedberg, what's going on, brother? Brooks Young, aw shit. 2000 MCR again. He's giving me a sound check there. Let's see. Ron Engel, how we doing? Jordan Dunning, what's going on, brother? TLW 1022, what's going on? Parker Golightly getting slaughtered at work. Have at it, brother. You can always watch the replay. We're here for you. Bondo Bird checking in. That's the Coyote Swap Pontiac that we highlighted here on one of the shows and on our blog. What's going on, brother? F-150 S550 ripping it in his Coyote swapped F-150. I saw that video today. It sounds good, man. Terry Cyprus. I think I got it right. Cyprus. I always like throwing a couple different versions of that one out there. Project T-Top Coyote. What's going on, brother? Mark Warren. How we doing? Mark Warren says he finally acquired his engine today. Congratulations. We are in Frank wherever he's popping in. Everyone's popping in. Okay. We'll cover some more here in a second so nobody gets left out. Someone already noticed the new hat. This is a new hat that I have picked up, done. The link is actually already on our website. If you're interested in hats like these, we're working on adding the regular PBH hats on there as well, so you can get them in a variant, a kaleidoscope of colors like I have them here. We finally found a hat supplier that does the stuff on demand, so I'll have to buy 300 hats in all sorts of different colors and hopefully sell them and move them out into different places. So the link is in our PBH swag section on our website. Currently, the only thing on there are these guys here, which I think you can get in this color variation, black and blue, I believe. Black, red, black, and blue. And then we're going to be adding the PBH standard logo ones like we've always had on the show here as well. Speaking of those hats, we still do have them. If you want them, we got them in gray, black. Gray and black, you get them. It's $25 a hat shipped, continental U.S. If you want two of them, it's $40. They're all trucker, that kind of stuff. If you have any questions about that or want to get one of those hats, you can always email me directly. You're going to email frank@pbhperformance.com. And that email is now on the bottom of the screen as well, frank@pbhperformance.com. Let me adjust myself there. Frank@pbhperformance.com if you want one of the traditional PBH gray on gray, black on black hats. If you're looking at the PBH live hat, you can go to our website and hook up with one of those. So, let's see here. Apparel. Tonight I am wearing something a little bit more personal to me. This is the Palm Beach Mustang Club shirt that my buddy Kyle Newton developed. He has them on his Teespring, I believe it is. I forget. MustangLab.com is where you can find some of his artwork and stuff like that. He's got some cool stuff on there if you want to check it out. But Kyle was a member of the Palm Beach Mustang Club when I was president of that club and had a lot of good friends in there. And I bought this shirt from his website not too long ago. And I've always meant to wear it on the show, and I lost track of it. And I found it in my drawer, and I decided to wear it tonight. Yes, I was the president of a Mustang Club of America chapter here in Palm Beach, where I met a lot of people that are still really, really close friends of mine that I still interact with. If you have a Mustang Club, which I know it's a little bit different now, with forums, and which we had a forum back then, but with Facebook and so forth, it's a little bit easier to keep in contact with everybody. With those clubs, if you get the right group of people, man, they're a lot of fun. You meet a lot of cool people, and all you have in common is you have Mustangs with, so your passions are usually lined up with the same. So wearing the shirt in honor of all my friends, basically almost family that I met through that club, all the things that I did, and Kyle himself for being such a great artist, man. So let's talk about one of the topics tonight, which is going to be new products. We have a few new products that we released this week. I'd say we've added about 20 new products in the last 3 weeks to the website. One of them is going to tie into what we talked about in the last few shows with oil coolers, oil filter relocations, in an attempt to make it easier to get it done. Make sure you get all the parts that you need. We came up with a kit. That kit will come with a block adapter. It's going to come with a remote oil filter housing, oil filter, 20 feet of hose, all the AN fittings, all the stuff you need to go ahead and get the job done. Now, we've released it as a Generation 1 and Generation 2 only, as we're working towards getting a solid 110% product for the Gen 3 guys. Could you use this setup on a Gen 3? Yes, but you're going to have to solder the resistor in, and we got to find a way to get your Gen 3 oil pressure sender to work with the block adapter, because the block adapter has 1/8 inch MPT or 1/4 inch MPT for the gauge sender, and not the, I think it's M12 or something like that for the Gen 3 stuff. So Gen 1 and Gen 2 right now. If you want to do this for a Gen 3, I would recommend trying to keep the factory housing and using a different adapter on the end of the housing to get it plumbed. But anyway, we'll show you what that stuff looks like here. And what you'll see on your screen, it's just a screenshot of our blog post that we made this week, outlining the new products that we put on the website. Far right is going to be your oil cooler kit, and that's also a link, basically. So if you go to the website, go to the blog, you can see all the same stuff you see on your screen right now. We've also added 2 new AC compressors and a new power steering reservoir that I got one on order. I'm waiting for it to come in because I think it's going to be something pretty trick. Let's see here. Let's look at these new products. So the first one here on your screen is your power steering reservoir. We've worked with PSC through Hydrotech. Now, if you don't know who Hydrotech is, Hydrotech makes the aftermarket Hydro Boost kits for Fox bodies, Mustangs, cars in general. They do a lot of hot rod, street rod stuff. And he pointed us in the direction of this housing because in your factory Hydro Boost system, a lot of guys are using a T for the low pressure stuff to go back to the Hydro Boost. And sometimes we've encountered issues with using a straight T in that line. It's a little restrictive from what I've understood, or it basically could create a slowdown in flow and cause some issues in high performance situations. The proper way to plumb that is for the housing to have 2 ports. And what you see on your screen is a power steering reservoir that has 1-10 to feed your power steering pump, whether it be the GM Type 2 or the modular Ford, and then 2-6. Now the -6s are the returns into the reservoir. So coming off the Hydro Boost and coming back from the rack, instead of using a T, you plumb them directly to the housing. Now the housing itself, powder coated black or anodized black, I believe it's all aluminum, really nice. Comes with a nice little bracket there. Now what's trick about that bracket is that it's kind of how you would hold a reservoir onto a roll bar, and it allows you, once you loosen it, to rotate it to help you plumb all your lines. If you're using our speed drive, you could basically aim it right behind the pump and go straight down with some 90s and go right to the pump, which is perfect. There's no obstructions. You're not creating a P trap to slow down flow to the power steering pump. And then as far as returning back to it, same thing. You can come up right from the bottom or from the side. If you need to rotate the housing, you can do that as well. Now the bracket itself lays flat. So what we're waiting on is for one of these to come in so we can try it out, potentially on my car, to see if it fits with our power steering reservoir bracket that we offer from Midway Mustang. If it does, it's going to help clear up a lot of the fitment issues that guys with tight aprons have with that power steering bracket, because once you put the Canton reservoir in there, the stock 96 to 04, all the fittings are coming out the bottom. Sometimes you have an apron and then the reservoir's here and the lines have really nowhere to go. Additionally, none of those Canton reservoirs or the factory ones have AN provisions, and this one does. So if you have room constraints at the bottom, you can loosen up the bracket and bring the reservoir up. If it's too high, you can bring it down. You can kind of play with the position of it. So I'm looking forward to testing that out on my car just to see exactly how the fitment is. And I think it may require some drilling of that bracket, but it's just aluminum, so it's no big deal. We might even drill them ahead of time for you. Who knows? But it's a really trick piece. We're happy to have it on the website. We're now dealers for these guys, and we're going to be working with them to come out with Hydro Boost systems, lines for universal Hydro Boost systems and the factory Mustang ones as well, with provisions for this. Because a lot of the line kits that are out there, they just give you a T and they tell you good luck with the reservoir, have fun. We want to make it a little bit more comprehensive and incorporate a cooler as well, because that's going to be key, especially when we're running a Hydro Boost system and brakes and everything off, steering and brakes off of that pump. You got to make sure it's cooled properly, not just tubes like the old factory ones. So that's product number one. If you go on our website, again, if you click on the picture on this blog post, you'll go right to it. I want to say these guys are $199 for the reservoirs, and then we'll work on the fitment stuff and the line kits and add those as needed. We have some new AC compressors now available. The Sandon SD7 compressors currently, or up to about this week, we only offer them in a raw finish. Now we have them in a powder-coated black finish or the jazzy polished finish. So these guys here are the same Sandon SD7 compressor. If you're looking for that custom touch with our Speed Series pulleys that are anodized black, or brackets are black, you can opt to pick up a black compressor now as well. We've added those to the website. Their prices vary. I believe they're somewhere in the $300 to $450 range, depending on which finish you choose. The same fittings that we offer for the Sandon SD7 compressor currently will work with these guys as well. They wire up the same. They're no bigger. They're just black and polished. So really nice stuff. Really, really nice stuff. We get those directly from Sandon, and they are excellent. Let's see here. Next one. This is one we touched on already. Our oil cooler kit. So it might be the first time you're seeing this guy, but basically we put this Photoshop together to show you all the components of the kit. This is a standard oil cooler and oil filter relocation kit for your Gen 1 and Gen 2 Coyote engines. So first step is the block adapter you see in the top right of the photo. That's going to be replacing your factory oil pressure or oil filter housing. And then you're going to have your oil filter relocation housing, which you see on the top left, with a little K&N oil filter as well. We're using the 22mm version, so you could use the same filter that comes on your engine, FL500 or the FL820, which was found on the 4.6 and the 5.4 liter engines previously in the modular engine family. The oil cooler itself is a stack and plate design. I want to say it's 12 by 10 steel. It's really robust. I've used these on a bunch of different projects. These things do not break. They take rock chips, all sorts of stuff. There probably are going to be better oil coolers out there than this guy in particular, but as far as getting the job done, I know 100% it can do it. It doesn't come with any fitment brackets. It's kind of a universal thing. You can use pull-throughs to mount it to your radiator. What I would suggest is getting some strap steel, bolting it to the cooler core tabs there, and then running it up to different points on the engine, one top, one bottom, to make sure it's nice and fixed, doesn't vibrate a whole lot, and chew up a condenser or a radiator if it's too close to it. We're also going to supply you all the adapter fittings for the half-inch MPT ports to the Dash 10 hose, 6 Dash 10 AN90s, and 20 feet of Dash 10 hose. Now, it's not push lock. This is conventional AN fittings, swivel fittings. That way you don't have to worry about heating them up, lubing them up, doing all that stuff, and then putting a safety clamp on them if you don't know how to work with that stuff. This stuff's a little bit easier to work with. You just got to be careful with your fingers. Once you cut it, you're going to have some steel braids that are built into it. You don't want to cut yourself on that stuff. You use a little bit of tape. But really good setup. I would be happy running that kit on my own car. On my car right now, I don't have anything much different. I didn't use a block adapter at the time when I built my car. They didn't have them. I have an oil cooler. It's about the same size as that guy right there. And I use Dash 10 hoses. I use all push lock because at the time that's all we had in stock basically. And I've had a bad experience with push lock on hot, high pressure hoses or oil hoses. I blew a hose off of a fitting once and almost burned my car down to the ground. Lost an engine that way as well because I lost oil pressure drastically quickly. So if you are using push lock on any of your projects, make sure you buy the safety clamps and put them on there. I wouldn't trust a push lock hose long term without the clamp. At least put a hose clamp on it if you don't have the safety clamps that they sell for the hose. This stuff here doesn't need it. You just run the fitting, the knuckle, onto the hose. Once you cut it to length, drive it in there and tighten it. And you can always buy AN wrenches and stuff like that to help and aid with the installation of that stuff. But that oil cooler kit is really a neat setup. I built this kit myself over the last 2 weeks trying to put it together. As you can see on the listing on the left-hand side of your screen there, not only can you buy the oil cooler kit from PBH, but we also have that Dakota Digital oil pressure sender log in case you want to keep the factory oil pressure sender installed, and also run a gauge version, the one that you'll be using for your aftermarket gauges or Dakota Digital gauges, or whatever you got going on there. So you have all the options you need there. Again, this is currently available on our website as Gen 1, Gen 2 only. Gen 3, we're waiting for a few other things to maybe come to market to help us get those situated and get those updated so you don't have any issues with the oil pressure control solenoid or the oil pressure sender itself. As soon as we get some of that stuff, we'll release a Gen 3 variant of this oil cooler kit. If you guys have any questions on any of these new products, make sure you post them up in the chat, and we'll try to cover them as we see them come across there. But yeah, a couple new things cooking tonight. You guys noticed the new hat. They are on the website. A couple guys have already commented that they they want competition orange. They like the fighter jet gray, all that stuff. What's neat about that website, we really don't make much on this stuff anyway. It's one of the reasons why swag is hard to manage, because the only way to make money with it is to buy it and put it on your shelves and treat it like your inventory, and then you lose a little bit of flexibility in design and stuff like that. This on-demand stuff is really tricky because basically we don't have to buy anything. I can put up a rainbow of different colors. You guys buy it, they ship it to you 7 to 10 days later, you get exactly what you want. So as you guys suggest design cues for me, I will apply them and put them on there, and you guys can buy them at your leisure, and we can have more fun with PBH logos. We are working on a new Coyote Swap shirt too. So anyway, that's for the future. Let's cover some of these super chat questions, make sure these guys get taken care of. Sizzle King asks, can I get an update on the F-150 10R80 3rd Gen Coyote control pack, please? When will it be ready? In the meantime, do I just order your 10R80 control pack now so I can get my pack ASAP? Yes, you're on the right track. Since everything that we're going to be doing Gen 3 10R80 is based off the Ford Racing Gen 3 10R80 control pack, order your control pack now. They keep pushing back the back order date from Ford Performance. If you're waiting for someone to have it in stock before you order it, you're probably waiting well through November right now. But if you place your order and we put ourselves in line, they will send us the back ordered product and we can fill your order before the back order date is up. A lot of people think that the back order date means, okay, great, on this day they're going to send out 1,000 control packs to all these suppliers and I'll get myself shortly after that. No, when they get it in stock, they fill the back orders. So if they get 10 of them, 30 of them, 40 of them, 50 of them, even if they got 200 requested, they're going to fill the orders as they come chronologically across their desk. So you place your order now if you know you need it. And this is an item you know you're going to need for that powertrain, F-150 Gen 3 10R80. Our changes aren't ready to be released just yet. We still are getting some feedback on them, but they're not going to be something we have to do to your control pack as of right now. And if we do, we'll just ask you to send back what you need, or maybe we'll catch it before it walks through the door, because it is probably going to be a couple weeks before we get it. So place your order on that now, and then we can always put an order note in the order to make sure that we hold it for release once it's arrived, in case it is for a Gen 3 10R80 F-150, and we can make the changes as we know that they're available. But it is in the works. We have some success already, and we're looking forward to getting that out to everyone, because I don't think it's going to be too crazy of a changeover. So got to make sure all the tuning is 110%. That's the biggest thing. Make sure that the codes are in check. Make sure that it runs and drives properly. We had a little bit of hiccup with our F-150 Gen 2 harnesses where we weren't expecting to have to make a change to the calibration, and we updated that on our website. The injector timing and the firing order had to match. So we did make an update there. We released all the information so your tuners can make those changes for you. But at first, we didn't catch that issue, so we had to update it. We're trying to avoid that with these Gen 3 10R80 ones because we want it to go as smooth as possible. Working in the wrong direction, having hiccups, stuff like that, it's hard to manage, honestly. JB, is PBH getting a 2021 Mach 1? Probably not. I don't really see a big reason for us to snag one. We were looking at maybe getting a Bronco and playing around with V8 swapping, something like that, or just having it to kind of poke around with it. As of right now, we don't really have any plans on buying any project vehicles or development vehicles, mainly because we're so busy filling orders and developing new products on stuff that we don't need a test vehicle for. That would be kind of get in the way. So I wish we would. I guess that we could play with it and go out and have fun. But as far as having fun, I got my my coupe. That's plenty fun. We've been throwing all sorts of new stuff at that thing, even though it's still a Gen 1 engine, and testing and having a good time with that as well. So let's see here. Blue 99. Hey Frank, what's up? Quick question: are the Gen 1, 2, 3 cranks interchangeable? I want to say yes, because crankshafts, they are interchangeable. Yes, I would say, yeah, they're interchangeable. The Boss 302 crank was a little bit different, I believe, or was that the Cobra Jet crank? I want to say that there was something different with the Mustang cranks at some point, because I know every time we sent one out to get built, we were using a stock crank, even though we were sleeving them, putting rods in them, pistons, porting them all those big power Coyotes that we ever put out had stock cranks in them. They were excellent. So we didn't really have any issues with cranks. I know by now they probably have billet cranks and unobtainium cranks and all variable variable, how can we say it? Variable displacement cranks? No. But I believe all the Gen 1, 2, and 3s are interchangeable. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I'll have to do my research on it and see cranks interchangeable. I'll write that down, but I believe they are, because even though the firing orders are different between Mustangs and F-150s in Gen 2 and Gen 3, we can make those changes electronically. So it's not like you have a firing order difference like you would find in the Voodoo engine. The Voodoo engine is very particular. So your 5.2 liter engines, let's say if you wanted to do a Voodoo, get a 5.2 liter Voodoo engine and update the crank and so forth, like with GT500 stuff, it's a different crank in that situation. But as far as all the Coyotes across the board, they are the same. F150S 550 chimes in. Thank you for the donation, all you guys as well. All cranks are the same, even GT500. So yeah, I know in the GT500s I think there was a Cobra Jet crank that we tried to track down. There was something different about it, and then they had the updated ones for the 5.4s out there. Let's see here. Project T-Top Coyote. Do you guys carry Dakota Digital for 7986 Foxes? If so, with a 6R80, do I need the GPS and OBD2 or just OBD2? Any other extras I would need? I would say to date we have not gotten Dakota Digital 1,000% to get the speed to work through the OBD2 port, although it definitely should. I will double check with the guys over there at Dakota Digital, see if there's any updates with that, where they're at with that, because it should be able to supply speed. As of right now, you're ordering it tomorrow. I like the GPS, so I don't have to run any type of converter box. The computer is going to know how fast you're going because your calibration is going to update based on your tire size and gearing. It has to know that, so the shift schedule will be proper, it will be correct. Now, if we can't translate that speed to the gauge cluster, then, for example, with our Gen 1 6R80 harness, we give you a speed OSS signal, power, and a ground, so you can run a converter box to take the pulse per mile and adjust it from the factory settings to what the gauge is expecting to see. So to avoid all that wiring, you get the GPS antenna. If you're not burying the antenna under the seat in a lockbox, covered in asbestos. You should just be able to tuck it away in the dashboard, get a good signal, and it's very, very easy to program and get working. What's also nice about that is if you change your tires for drag racing, something like that, you're not down there trying to mess with the dip switches, trying to get your cluster to read correctly. Now, you will have to have tune changes naturally for that because, again, your shift schedule and stuff like that, but your gauges, you don't have to worry about it. It'll always be accurate because it's based on satellites. The only thing that's going to keep it from working is if the satellites fall out of the sky or you don't have a signal or something like that. So I like the GPS stuff. As far as other add-ons, now Dakota Digital always going to give you, with their VHX series, HDX series, and RTX series, they're going to give you an oil pressure sender. So you're going to be able to use that. Depending on the generation of engine, generation 1 or 2, me personally, I would just remove the factory oil pressure sender and put the one that they supply you in its place because it's not going to affect anything on the vehicle, and then wire it into your control box. The only other things that you would need potentially would be for boost. You're going to get tach signal, you're going to get water temp, you're going to get voltage, speed you're going to get from GPS. Oil pressure comes with it. So, the BIM module, the GPS will take care of everything, and then oil pressure you're going to get with the gauge. So you're in good shape there. You don't have to worry about having to buy multiple other sensors unless you're trying to add something like boost, some other telemetry, oil temperature or something like that that's not in the computer. You can scroll through some of the options that it picks up through the BIM, like IATs and stuff like that can be looked at, and I believe even air fuel ratio can be looked at in the message center on the VHX. It's not going to be a sweep gauge. So yeah, Blue 99 chipping in here as well. Thank you again, much appreciated. Got a spare Gen 1 Mustang crank, gonna put it in a Gen 3 here. Here's some more taco money. Yeah, the Gen 3 stuff is just out of control. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with Alex's channel or the guys at Midnight Performance, I believe it is. They are flying in a stock motor Gen 3 twin turbo car. I mean, it's going like 780s, man. It's obscene what they're getting away with on that car. It's crazy, and we've seen it before. I know Justin Jordan in 2000 he had a 14 GT, and at the time it was just flying. It was high 8-second car, I think, with a stock motor. So it's funny to see that in each generation of these cars, there's that one guy who ends up putting it to the wood, giving it all the beans, and seeing what they can do in stock form. So it's pretty trick. Let's see here. We'll answer a few more questions. We'll get into the autocross stuff. Wild Horse Garage, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us. Evening Frank, all apparently. I can't tell. Okay. You're fine. Hey, just listen, we got the replay for a reason. Just glad you can join us. It means a lot to us, and me in particular. Let's see here. For more performance, do you know of a better option than the factory 16 GT Clutch Master cylinder? Application is a 16 GT Magnum XL swap Mantic clutch single turbo car. No, I don't. Are you having issues with the stock master cylinder? What are the issues you're having? Mantic is an excellent clutch. Have had very, very few issues with their stuff. Have always worked well on the cars that we've installed them on. As far as the master cylinders, I've never really encountered any direct issues with them. I know I've changed them a few times thinking it might be potentially an issue on a car. Never proved to be that. So, Harry Olson, hey Frank, hi from Ontario, Canada. You guys do great work and the wealth of knowledge really helps. You're welcome, Harry. Thank you for joining us from Ontario. Very nice. Lorenzo Enzo, when use the control pack, can I use donor cluster from 11 to 14 or will I need a Dakota? You're going to need aftermarket gauges for sure. It doesn't have to be a Dakota Digital, but you're not going to be able to use the stock instrument cluster from any of these cars as far as donor vehicles when you're using a control pack because they just eliminate all the connections at the PCM and the modules. You don't have a body control module, which is part of that system as well. So it's not a good option. I would definitely lean towards aftermarket gauges. The Dakota Digital ones are an excellent option for that, and they have a lot of provisions for you. But you really can use just about any gauge you want. You can use dongles on your OBD2 to feed an iPad. I see guys using their cell phones. The N gauge can be used even if you like to squint and get all your telemetry on a little 3-inch face. Let's see here. Root Beer chiming in. Thank you for the donation, brother. Mach 1s will have 480 horsepower. Eventually, the 302 will run out of displacement. How much power do you think is left on the table for future GTs? Well, I think if the sky was a limit, I think there's technology out there to get more out of them. Absolutely more out of them. I mean, you see what we can do with boost naturally. The efficiency of that engine. Naturally aspirated will be the question. I think the tech that it would take to get more power out of that engine will outweigh, basically price-wise, will keep it from happening. Because, I mean, you look back a couple years now, and Koenigsegg had, I think it was electronic valves. They're revving engines, like Formula One engines, all the way like 25,000 RPM, 20,000 RPM, these small V8s. So that stuff exists. You apply that to a 302 cubic inch engine, I don't know if it really equates to really making the same amount of power, or if it's even needed, or if it, it's too big basically to get away with it. But I think there's more power on the table. There's always a little bit more. I don't know what they're going to do factory-wise. My fear, but not too afraid, is that we end up with a lot of hybrid variants to take us to the next level, where we have some sort of electric drive and turbocharged smaller displacement engine combined together to provide a better driving experience and more fuel economy. Or you see Ford do that to every other car in their fleet just so they can still have a V8 in the Mustang and have their foot in that pool, basically, because it's not like anybody else is giving up on that. Chrysler's still going to have V8 cars. They're not signaling anything as far as getting rid of it. Chevrolet is doing the same thing. So obviously we're going to have to keep developing V8s unless they want to be the first ones on the block to abandon them, like they threatened with the Probe back in '93. I like the Probe, though. It's a cool car. But anyway. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the Autocross. Friday night, I did take my car out to the Autocross. I am leading in points for the Unlimited class out there. I'm 5th overall in points for the entire Autocross League. We're getting into the last 5 events. Actually 6, because the next event, which is not this weekend, but the following weekend, is a double event where they're going to run one event earlier in the afternoon and one at night. So I'll be heading out to that to try to get points for both events. There's a guy that's only 4 points behind me, and he's been coming more regularly, so I got to go as many times as I can. Unfortunately, one of the weekends is a birthday trip of my own, and then the other weekend that I can't go is my wife's birthday weekend. So there's literally the 2 on the Saturday, another one mixed in November, and the last one, which is the finale, in December. And hopefully by then I'll have it in the bag, and I don't have to worry about going out there and racing head-to-head with somebody. But there is a chance if this guy shows up at all the events I go to, and then goes to the events that I can't go to, I'm in trouble, because he may get full points against me those nights that I'm not there. And even if I beat him, he's getting 2 points to my 3, so I'm only getting a point lead on him on those events. So he can, so I'm kind of, we'll see. I may have to cancel a couple birthdays, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, the car is running really, really well. Last Friday night, we had excellent weather. I mean, I got out of the truck when I got to the track, and I was like, man, if the weather was just like this, low humidity, a little bit of a breeze, our houses would be worth millions of dollars like they are in California. This is excellent weather. But, of course, by Saturday morning, it was gone. But we had very low humidity. We had a little bit of a breeze. It was really, really comfortable out there. And what happened is everyone started hauling ass. Everyone's running their best damn times. No one's tires are falling off. There was a guy that ran 49 times that night, and his tires never got hot, never got boiling hot. So we'll see how my car hangs in there. My tire's a little bit older. I ordered new tires, but they're on back order till the beginning of November, so I'm hoping they come in around that time. Around that time, I should get my new wheels, because I am going 18 by 11s square with 315s square. So that's going to be an exercise in trying to get all that to fit and align it and so forth. But that is coming, and I'm hoping to have it sooner than later, just in case the tires fall off. I have something to go to really quick. So, and that may help me bring my personal best even lower, which Friday night I was able to finally get the car into the 50-second range, 50. Up until now, I've been consistently in the 51s. 52s when I began, got into the 51s, and now I'm in the 50s. Now out there, I think the fastest flyer of a lap was in the 48s. It was a guy with a GT2 Porsche that knew what he was doing, and that guy never showed up again, as far as I know. Everyone else is a high 49-second car when they're flying, and then they're in their 50s. So now that I know I've punched my way through that barrier. Now I know where I can add a little bit more speed and tighten it up, because there's definitely more time out there for me. Just got to put it all together. And I'm still losing a lot of time on the launch. The guys that I'm racing against that night, let's see, every car that was quicker than me, which is only about 4 cars, all were IRS or all-wheel drive or mid-engine. So I'm the only solid axle car that's putting it down in the 50s. There hasn't been anybody else. So I'm holding my own to the point where I'm considering even cambering the rear end, but it's looking to be really expensive to do that. So, but anyway, we'll show you some of the video here. We did have it up on our YouTube channel. It was unlisted, so you guys may not have seen it, but we released it on our blog, and we'll make it public here after the show. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. So let's see how this works, because here we go. Alright, so here's the Autocross video. And it's just a little intro here, that pictures of the car. And here I am launching the car. Now I launched about 2,500 RPM. Control the spin of the tires. Grab second. When I grabbed second, it was already in the gate, ready to rock and roll. I've done this quicker before. Made it work that night. Definitely laid into it here. Back slalom, but I kept it tight now instead of going all the way wide, which helped me gain a little bit of time there. The car front end never washed out. It never, ever, ever washed out. It was tight. It's going to go back. It's the fastest part of the course here. So before we got the power early without spinning the tires, kept it tight to the right-hander instead of going wide like I want to do because of my road racing experience, but it is about cutting the course length down. Just felt great through here. Never faltered, never washed out on me. I was able to get on the power soon here. That's why I ran a 50-second lap time. Just a little bit of a celebration. I didn't get teary-eyed. But 50.99. Took home the hardware. There's only 4 cars in the class to run against. One of the guys was in a Bantam 7. Bantam 7 weighs like, I mean, my cell phone might be heavier than that thing. It's got 400 horsepower. It's a turbocharged motorcycle engine, open wheel. It looks like a Lotus, like an older Lotus 7. And he's got basically the same treadwear tires I have. And he was figuring it out too. He got into the 51s. But as soon as he crept up on me in the 51s, I laid down the 50 and kind of nailed the coffin, that deal. So the car is definitely getting better. The Gen 1 motor is doing great. I got to do an oil change on it, check a few things, and it's ready to go. Rotate the tires, maybe get the alignment done again, and head back out there, not this weekend, but next weekend for 2 events. And I got to be careful because I don't want to wear those tires out before the other stuff shows up, because if not, I mean, I may have to buy a set of these tires, and I don't want to do that. Obviously, budget-wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but interesting thing on the trip to the Autocross last Friday night is I am using the Canton reservoir, and it did vent. So that cap on that system isn't 110% sealed because it vents basically from underneath it. It has to be able to do it. So that new reservoir I'm getting from PSC, I can get it with a vent provision and a little catch can, because if it does vent, it vents all over the headers. And then you smell this burning fluid and you start worrying about everything on the car. And then that stuff, you don't ever want to drop ATF on hot headers all the time or consistently, because you could end up with a little bit of a fire. It's always a problem. So we'll do some updates, and we'll test that new reservoir on my car to see how it does. I'll have to check and see where that is, but that's coming as well. So yeah, we're 5th in points. We're number 1 in class. I got a 4-point lead going into the last 5 or 6 events of the year, and hopefully we'll be able to take care of business and come home with my first championship, and I will be considered an autocross champion. It's like being the head of the top of the anthill basically around here. So we'll see how it goes. Mark Warren says just cancel both birthdays. You don't need to get any older. There's actually logic there. It's my 40th birthday, so we're making a little bit of a big deal. My wife's my birthday is November 7th. Hers is December 9th. So there's very, very little room for me to rest with her birthday and Christmas. It's a double whammy. My cousin was born on Christmas Day. He always got screwed with the December birthday. Anybody else, if you're within a week, I guess, of Christmas, you're screwed. But she nailed it perfectly. December 9th, beginning of the month, you can't tie it into a Christmas gift. She's got to get double gifts, dinners, whatever's going on. So, but I love her to death, so I don't care. But yeah, I'll be gone that November 13th weekend, and then her birthday weekend, we got a trip planned as well. But I don't know, if shit's tight going into that December weekend, I may have to meet her where we're going on Saturday to stay here Friday night to get the job done. So I'm sure she'll understand if she loves me. Let's see here. What tires you get? I'm loving Hankook PS4s. Good grip and last a while. That's from Root Beer. The ones I just ordered, Root Beer, are the new Falcon RT 660s. 200 treadwear tires are the latest one from Falcon. If those don't come in on time, I'm hopefully going to get I'll pay the extra and get the BF Goodrich Rivals. But I'm hoping the 660s, all the reviews I've read and people that I've seen on YouTube, they really like the response on the tire. They really like the way it's handling. It's a bunch of the big Auto X guys that have done it, and they're cheaper. They're like $40 cheaper a tire, which that adds up over 4 of them. It's almost $200 for a set. If I got to get the BFGs, I'll get them, but I'm not looking forward to paying $1,600, $1,700 for a set of tires. I'd rather keep it a little bit cheaper as best I can. I think I'm buying them for like $280 a tire plus freight. So I'm getting the Ford Stars F14s, 18x11s in the Sun Gold. I always like gold and bronze wheels. I'll finally get the racy gold on the car that I've always wanted. And I think it's going to look pretty trick. We'll play with I'm probably going to have to put spacers to get it to work. But once we do, it's going to look, it's just going to look like a mutant with those big meats, front and rear, wide body. She's going to look tough. And on top of that, it's going to lower the car about half an inch just by going to the 315 3018 versus the 275 4018 that I have now. So it's 1.3 inches smaller diameter. So about half of that from the hub down is about 0.6, 0.7, 0.65. So we're going to be lowering it a little bit over half an inch just by tire size. So the car's going to be down there. I may have to lift up the coil a little bit just to make sure I can get it back on the trailer. But for pictures, I'll probably get a nice low picture out of it. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to those RT660s. Dolman34 chiming in. What kind of car does a proctologist drive? A brown probe. Yes, I like it. I like it. Hey, my sister had a 95 or 93 Probe GT Silver. It was a cool car. There's the guy actually running it in the Optima Streetcar Challenge. It's quick. 5.0 Magic. Put a Dakota cluster in my car. Got everything working but the mile per hour. Trying to use their GPS box to pick up the mile an hour. Have you guys used their GPS? I called them, but the guy didn't want to help. You can call me. You can email us. We can definitely help you with that. We got it to work just fine. I got a car here right now that has it, and it works just fine. It didn't need any tie-in to the computer. It goes directly to the VHX box, and it does its own thing direct. There is some programming you got to do on the cluster to get it to turn on. You have to change the input so it knows to look for the GPS signal instead of the regular speed signal. So if you want, you can always email me or call me, and I can try to walk through the instructions with you and make sure you have all the settings correct, which is something that they should do at Dakota Digital, and it's ridiculous that they didn't want to help you. So hopefully you got the wrong guy, or maybe they didn't understand what you were asking, but everyone there should be able to walk you through that. They are the manufacturer of those products, and they should be backing them up 110%. If you need to call somebody at Dakota Digital, you can call Greg Karp. Greg Karp is the guy we deal with. The guy's top notch, so definitely check him out. Caleb from Foxcast Media is here. Definitely check out Foxcast Media. They use a lot of our products on a lot of their shows and on their videos. Checking in, Frank. You got that car moving. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Caleb. I appreciate that. I was hoping to get up to Bowling Green with you guys to run it up there. Maybe next year. I think so. I think next year will be the year. Winning down here might afford me an invitation to the King of the Mountain. Maybe. Hoping to get that invitation, and then if I do get that, I'll be running up against the likes of Mike Trinkle, which you saw at the Holly Ford Intergalactic Moonfest. So cars like that, like mine, well, cars like his, which are abundantly cooler than mine, will be my competition. So we'll see what we can do. I'm hoping I got something competitive here. So let's see here. F-150, S550, thank you very much, brother. Appreciate he says, congrats on your new personal best. Jason Freeberg also donating to the channel. Congrats on the personal best. Good luck on the run to the championship. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. Rob says, with that mustache, getting out of that car makes everything look good. It's unfortunate we have to wear face masks when we're out there, the shields or whatever, like we all have to wear when we go out and in public right now. But hopefully, once that's dropped down here, because we're getting close to that, I believe the county just north of us said they're getting rid of all their mask mandates. The state of Florida has said you're stage 3, you can do whatever you want as far as your county. Our county in particular, which is Palm Beach County and Broward County to the south, they still have restrictions in place. But a lot of the more rural communities that aren't seeing any cases, they've already dropped everything's full throttle. 100%, go sit next to each other at the bar, let's go make out, everyone, let's kiss. So they are not afraid of it, and they're rolling with it. So let's see here. Foxcast, Caleb says, Adam and I were repping PBH in Bowling Green all weekend. I appreciate that, man. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to do that event maybe next year. I think we could probably put that together. I know there's a couple events we want to try to hit, and that's one of them for sure. And we're Holly dealers now, so it'd be nice to go up there and visit with those guys as well. Let's see here. Ford More Performance says, that's for the great deal and turnaround on the Steeder Road Race cam member. Got it under the car last night and finished up the front coilover install tonight after the show. Okay. Maybe I missed something from you there. But yeah. Thanks for the great deal on the turnaround on Steeder Road. Okay, I got you. You're welcome. By the Beard of Zeus, of course, the Ron Burgundy comments continue. I love that movie, both of them, and the musical. Yeah, you guys are talking about that GPS. Yeah, if you're stuck on that GPS, I'm pretty sure when we installed it here, it was fairly straightforward. I know we picked up signal right away, and we wired it into the VHX box. I made the changes on the dash, and we were ready to go. The only place where we got tripped up on that new edge when we did the Dakota Digital was the hertz and the frequency of the fuel level sender. And we actually accidentally left it on the wrong setting. And when the customer left, he thought he had half a tank of fuel, and he had basically no fuel, and he ran out of gas on the way home. So I had to basically buy a fuel level sender, fuel hat, and ohm it out to see exactly what the range was, drive to his house, unplug his, plug ours in, and put a custom range into it so it would program properly, and then send them on down the road. So, and now it works perfectly. No problem whatsoever. 50 Magic asks, any experience with built 4R70W transmissions? Actually, we do. Before we did the 6R80 stuff, Jake Long did a lot of 4R70Ws. We've gone 8s, almost 7s with 4R70s. We don't do as much of them anymore because they're not. They are a little bit of a how can I say it? A little bit of a handful. There's a little bit of attrition when it comes to the 4R70Ws, and you got to be very careful that you never go full throttle with them in overdrive, because you'll just wax the overdrive band completely. So I think I'm chopping up here. There we go. Anyway, so that's the one detriment to them. They're very straightforward to program with the quick 4s, unlike the 6R80s, which are a little bit more complicated with the standalone controllers. You can definitely get them built to handle a lot of power. I know if you look up a car called Ego Breaker, Sergio Rojas, I've mentioned him plenty of times on here. Sergio's got a 4R70W behind a single turbo, I think it's a 408 stroker, and you definitely have a solid combo there. He drives that car in the street. It has everything you would need, and it can go out and run a very, very nasty 8-second time slip. It's mini tubbed, all that stuff. So we have all the confidence in the world in the 4R70Ws in that world. Can they do the same thing as 6R80 does? I think they fall short there as far as computer control and the locking of the converters and all that stuff, but they can definitely do the job. We don't offer anything for the 4R70Ws any longer, but I would say Lentec Automatics was a really big source of the parts that we used, the valve bodies, all the hard parts that were needed, and then you have the red clay or the choline frictions and steels. Those are also typically used. Now, if you're really going to lean on it and you don't want a whole lot of downtime, you may want to consider building 2 of them, just in case. I know that's what Sergio does, because he does go through frictions and steels quite a bit. Quite a bit here tonight. Nothing major, man. He didn't miss any groundbreaking information, but we did release some new products, and we talked about our Autocross experience last Friday night, the personal best and stuff like that. We general chit chat, saying hello to people and so forth. We didn't have anything, again, groundbreaking here tonight. We're going to get into some more tech stuff maybe next week. And if you guys ever have topics for me to use, post them up in the videos or email them to me so I can get them worked up into the script for the shows and get into all the diagrams and so forth. So let me know if there's something you want me to cover that we can get over to you, or get some information out to you and so forth. I think there's something going on in my OBS. No, we're back in business. Yeah, we're back in business. It was getting a little choppy there, I think. A little choppy. So yeah, man. We're going to start closing things out for the night. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you post them up in the chat room there in particular. We do have new hats, as you can see, on this beautiful melon. If you go to our website under the PBH swag section, you'll see these PBH live hats. That's also going to be where you're going to find our new PBH hats. I'm going to try to get these sold. If you like the black and the gray, $40, get you 2 of them shipped. The new ones will be loaded up there pretty soon. I got to put some time into it. We are working right now to update all of our instructions. We have a lot of different variations to our speed drive, and we haven't updated our instructions in a while, and we finally are doing that. I was working on that for a couple hours today. So now whatever variant of our speed drive you buy, there will be detailed instructions, because we did have an update earlier this year in February where we changed our alternator bracket from a 6-bolt design to a 5-bolt design on our NA kits, and it doesn't use the throttle bicycle for a loop. Also, we don't include jewelry in any of our kits. So if you bought a low profile power steering kit from us and you got a red disc, it almost looks like a dog tag, it's not a throwaway piece. It's not a keychain. That's a tool. It's a tool you're supposed to use to re-drill your tensioner to make sure it doesn't hit the power steering pump. We probably get 2 calls a week. You guys go, hey, what's going on, man? I put the power steering bracket in and it's hitting the tensioner. But you didn't reclock the tensioner. Well, how do I do that? I'm like, use the red. Did you not read the instructions? No? Oh, okay. There we go. So read the instructions, please, pretty please, and we'll gladly help anyone who calls with that stuff. But if you don't read the instructions, then you get a little bit lost. You get a little hectic with things when you do call us. So what is going on? All right, here I'm back. I'm dying out here quick. I don't know why. Say thank you, Jose Delgado, for the donation. Thank you for more performance for that donation as well. He says thanks for another great show and great info. You guys.